Happy first day of school to many of you, and thanks so much for joining us for this special 4029 News on the Record. I'm Yuna Lee.
And I'm Phil Reed. It's been a busy day for some school districts today, welcoming back the kids to class. The first day started with some soggy sidewalks for students. This is video from Springdale Southwest Junior High. The rain not stopping kids from showing up and greeting their friends before starting a new year.
And the first day also including a lot of traffic for parents trying to drop their kids off for the first day. This is video from Fort Smith's Fairview Elementary, which had to make room for students from Baldwin. That school was not ready for the first day after construction over the summer. Police were out to make sure everyone stayed sane and safe.
This school year starts with a new law in the state focused on education, the Arkansas Learns Act.
It was signed into law this spring by Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders. I was able to sit down and speak about the Learns Act with the governor. My first question was about Arkansas Learns and the risk of kids being held back if they're not at the right reading level by the end of the third grade.
Certainly there are exemptions, but ultimately the way that we look at it is the goal is not to hold kids back. It's to give them the foundation that they need, not just to move to fourth grade, but to excel and succeed all the way up until they graduate. And we know that if a student is not reading at that critical benchmark age of third grade, they're really going to struggle moving forward. And so certainly we have exemptions and waivers in place, but we also aren't just putting kids back in the same program and curriculum. The goal would be that over the course of the summer and the end of that third grade school year, they meet with the literacy coach, they receive additional tutoring with hopes that during that couple month period, they're able to move up to the fourth grade. Right now in Arkansas, only 35% of Arkansas third graders are reading at or above grade level. We have at least a dozen or more counties where only 10% of our third graders are hitting that critical benchmark. And so we have to do a better job of giving them that core foundation that we know determines so much of their lifetime success. If they aren't hitting that benchmark, there is a very high likelihood that they will never graduate. If you look at even just our incarcerated population in the state of Arkansas, 70% of those who are incarcerated can't read. It is such a huge indicator, and that's that make or break moment. So we really want to give them immersion services, identifying those students earlier so we can help catch them up and then put them on a pathway to success.
So who's a part of the exemptions for that retention aspect?
Well, it would depend. There's obviously maybe a special needs student, but those could be applied through the Department of Education and a waiver would be granted.
Okay. What about ESL students?
Certainly that could factor in. Again, they could apply through the Department of Education and it would be done on a case-by-case basis.
Okay. Any plans to add pre-K for all?
Certainly right now we are looking at what programs exist. As we like to say, there are deserts and islands of different early childhood programs. There was no great accounting for what already existed and what was already working across the state. So that's the place that we're in right now. I signed an executive order directing Secretary Oliva and the Department of Education to make a determination of what programs we have, what seats are available, and where programs are still needed. They are supposed to complete that here in the next couple of weeks, and that'll help put us on a better pathway to determine where the highest need programs still are and where we can better serve those students.
What's the plan to hold homeschool parents accountable once we get to that portion of the Learns Act where they receive, where parents receive vouchers?
Right. So this first year, homeschool families aren't eligible, but we expect that they will be fully eligible by next year and be able to apply for the Education Freedom accounts. We want there to be accountability. We are not just giving out money and hoping for the best. In each part of Arkansas Learns, there's strong accountability measures, and that applies to homeschool as well. We would require a type of we're not just sending checks, I guess I should say, to homeschool families. You have to show that it is being used for curriculum and textbooks. You couldn't go out and, for instance, buy a PlayStation and say that you're using that for educational purposes. And it wouldn't be a direct payment to the parent. It would go for the purchase of things like textbooks and curriculum supplies.
Where's the level playing field when it comes to private versus public? So what do you say to people who are saying, hey, are they going to be under the same standards?
Yeah, so certainly, as you know, we are implementing a standardized testing requirement for any private school that chooses to participate in education freedom accounts. But I think there's a couple big differentiators. The money that any public school is already receiving, they're still going to receive. Now they're just going to receive a significant amount more to pay their teachers better, to provide things like literacy coaches, facilities funding. There are all these additional funding mechanisms that public schools receive that private schools don't, that are very significant, that I think give those public schools a much broader operational standpoint and a lot more resources.
When you talk to businesses, what are they saying they need from schools?
Everything. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter if you're in Northwest Arkansas, Southwest Arkansas, or Northeast, or right here in Central Arkansas. Everywhere you go, every type of business you meet with will tell you they can't find the skilled, qualified workers they need fast enough. So focusing on education impacts everything else we're trying to do in the state. If we want to keep some of our best and biggest businesses right here in Arkansas, we have to make sure that we can supply the workforce. If we want to bring in new business and create new economic development opportunities, we have to build that workforce. So starting at the foundation through education is going to help Arkansas be successful long term.
And the governor says her family has also been preparing for the start of the school year and looking forward to returning to class.
While the Arkansas Learns Act is written and in place, rules and regulations that will come from it are still being discussed.
And I recently sat down with superintendents from Bentonville, Rogers, Springdale, Fayetteville, and Fort Smith school districts to discuss the Learns Act and the new school year. Rogers' Dr. Jeff Perry says his district is having to move ahead with policies that they hope will be aligned with the new rules and regulations.
I think the one thing that we're all concerned about to some degree is the law is not as important sometimes as the rules and regulations that follow up on that. And most of those are not even written yet. And so we adopted a ton of policies, and with our best guess about what those rules and regulations would end up being.
And you know, Rogers is not alone in questioning what will come from the Arkansas Learns Act. Fort Smith School's Dr. Terry Morawski said most questions about the Learns Act are coming from teachers.
There are many changes. It's it's a big bill. There's a lot involved, and a lot of that's really still being unpacked by committees at the state level. We still have a lot of questions with the Department of Ed, and so still really reviewing and waiting for some answers on some of it, but just a lot to consider and really take in. Our staff's asking us a lot of questions too, and so we're really just in a exploratory time right now to really understand it.
A major focus for the new law is bringing up reading levels for Arkansas students. It places an emphasis on literacy for K through 3rd grades and will hold back 3rd grade students who do not meet minimum reading requirements.
And superintendents told us that the Northwest Arkansas levels are better than other parts of the state, but that the COVID pandemic that kept some kids home set them back because that class time is so key.
I think what really hits home on this is teaching is a science. You have to be skilled. Otherwise, when kids were home with COVID, you would not have seen achievement drop, and that happened across the nation. It matters every day in the classroom what they're doing, and so with this standard, it is now state law. It sets a bar, and we'll meet that bar. It means that you perfect the science and that every single second in school matters.
Well, the state wants students that are not reading at a 3rd grade level to not go to 4th grade without that skill. But what will that mean if they're held back?
Superintendents told us that they look at how students progress from the first day of school to the last day.
We certainly want to hit that target of reading proficiency at the 3rd grade. That is the ultimate goal. But more importantly is that steady continual growth towards towards proficiency once they are productive adults. And so we understand that it's a marathon, not a sprint. And again, you got to look at each child individually, find out what barriers are in place that are keeping them from learning or growing, and do everything we can to remove those barriers.
There are other things to consider. Dr. Jared Cleveland with Springdale Schools tells us there are a large number of students trying to learn to read in English, and that's not their primary language.
In Springdale, 47% of our kids, English is a second language. So even at the elementary level, they may be learning English at the same time trying to learn to read. There are issues that are just harder, right, than if you come from traditional English only speaking. And so I don't think school districts get credit for that.
The LEARNS Act also lets families have a say on how their tax dollars are spent with education freedom accounts. Temporary rules have been approved by lawmakers in Little Rock to allow students to use state funds to cover costs of school. Approximately $11 million in total across the state is available for students who are attending private, religious, or homeschool. Right now, the funding isn't available for homeschoolers. This is through a third party, so don't expect to get paid if you apply, but instead you can be reimbursed for tuition and school supplies. The truth about the new vouchers in Arkansas is that school districts aren't sure how they'll be impacted.
And all who we spoke with say that it's far too early to know if their budgets will take a hit, but they did say they wanted to see an even playing ground.
From my lens, when it comes to school choice initiatives, whatever that is, I have no issue with school choice. I think parents having to say where their kids go is a great thing. However, I do believe that it should be a level playing field, and that if state funds are going to be directed to an institution, everyone should be playing by the same rules.
Each school district we spoke with have programs where they focus on career paths for students who know what they want to do in the future.
So it's only been open for a couple of years, but Fort Smith's Peak Innovation Center has helped give students an alternative path as well.
Public education used to be more about college prep only, or college was the only path, and now really anything leads to a career, even if college is involved, is what we're now telling students.
The center broke ground in 2020. It operates with a partnership with area manufacturers and local hospitals. It offers career-focused curriculum to high school students. Students have been learning about manufacturing, healthcare, and IT with classes in recent years. New this school year, construction tech, and soon to come, an advanced arts degree. The school is also working to develop a nursing program for middle and high school students.
And it's not just Fort Smith that utilizes the center. Districts across the River Valley have students attending classes there. Next, what we learned from superintendents when we asked about teacher pay and Arkansas Learns.
And what one district is doing to address teacher fatigue. Welcome back. We're discussing Arkansas Learns and the future of education in Arkansas with leaders in our local schools.
That's right. And if you're just joining us, we recently sat down with superintendents from Bentonville, Rogers, Springdale, Fayetteville, and Fort Smith. We talked about a number of topics related to the new education omnibus plan, including teacher pay.
It brought the base salary for teachers to $50,000. Now, all school districts except Fort Smith said their teachers were already on that level.
One issue we learned about in discussion is what we need more future teachers.
If you look at the pipeline, you just know that the pipeline is not producing the number of candidates and applicants that we're going to need statewide to be successful. Once this generation leaves, it's going to be harder to fill those areas simply because there's not the numbers. It's just a math game. That even with the new math, it doesn't add up. That if you need 100 teachers and there's only 50 in the pipeline, it's not going to be enough.
An issue superintendents spoke about in our talk that came along with teacher pay they have encountered was the cost to live. Springdale's Dr. Jared Cleveland said that along with other school districts like Bentonville and Rogers, they've sent offers to teachers who want to come to their schools but could not find an affordable place to live.
Fort Smith Schools is looking forward to the future. They have the new Air Force foreign mission to look forward to.
That's right.
We learned earlier this spring the city was selected to host a new mission to bring F-16s to Arkansas from other countries, one being Singapore and others being considered. Dr. Terry Morawski says he's having meetings along with other city officials on what's ahead for the region.
At the same time, the Fort Smith School Administration is keeping an eye on a problem that comes from the COVID pandemic, teacher burnout, developing a program to address the issue.
It really came to the forefront during and after the pandemic. There's a lot of conversation about that, whether people were leaving the profession or joining the profession or that kind of thing. And so we're launching a lot of internal efforts within the district to help people. It's book studies. There's also trainers that have come in and just further opportunities for our staff, but especially the classroom teachers, because that's a tough job and can be kind of isolating sometimes. So we definitely want them to feel that support and have the strategies to enjoy their work and enjoy their day and not kind of fall victim to that stress or pressure that a lot of people can experience in their jobs.
Our panel of superintendents discuss school safety, school resource officers, technology to simple steps to make sure our campuses are safe, coming up next.
Now back to 4029 News on the Record.
Welcome back. Whether it's the first day of school or any day for class, our local school resource officers and police departments work every day to keep our campus safe.
And this year, Springdale Schools told us that they were nearly doubling its force of 20 by 18.
They are at every elementary school, and they're part of those families. They're part of those teams, and quite frankly, the kids love them, and so do the teachers, and I believe moms and dads really appreciate having the additional layer of security.
And Fort Smith was one of the first districts in the state to develop its own police department.
It has only 10 officers to cover the district's many schools, but its police chief served on the governor's task force on school safety. Fort Smith's superintendent says he would love to have more officers, but there's no more money in the budget.
Instead, they have other tools at their disposal.
We have cameras, we have other types of systems that help, but really those people, those officers that are trained in the building is what people want to see, and we're excited to be able to provide that.
And obviously, social media can factor into safety. Superintendents tell us that they want your family to say something if you see something.
For Rogers Superintendent Dr. Jeff Perry, he says they work every day to make sure the schools are secured.
Convenience is often the greatest threat to security. That you leave a door propped open just so that it's easier to come back and forth, and so sometimes it's not necessarily the people that we have in the building that's armed and ready, but it's those individuals that are there to just practicing those good, safe practices every day, making sure your door's locked, making sure the exterior doors are secure.
Next, what our local superintendents are excited about for the new school year.
After these messages.
So another school year has begun for students, teachers, and parents. This morning, some students had to deal with the wet weather, but otherwise it was a good start to the semester.
Well, here's our superintendents telling us what they are excited for with the new school year.
I have to tell you, every time school starts and the students return and the teachers are there, everyone's excited.
Yes.
So I'm excited about seeing them be excited.
I'm excited just to get to know our people, our teachers, our students, our community, and just immerse myself into the learning environment.
The best reward for me as a superintendent to see those teachers come back and get their rooms ready, and to put the love that they have into their classrooms and every little detail means a lot to kids. So I'm so excited to see that.
When we have that first day of school, we're the only chance that a lot of these students have. And I think a lot of our teachers give that kid who's never had a chance the one chance that they need.
Just a great year, and also it still feels like we're returning to normal a little bit after going through all the pandemic and all of that.
And whether today is the first day or tomorrow or anytime this week, we want to see your first day pictures.
That's right. So join us on Facebook. Our group is 15,000 strong, and we're always looking for more people to show us their hometown. Find us on the Facebook groups You Local Arkansas.
And we are working on bringing you more conversations with area newsmakers every Sunday morning on 4029 News on the Record. That's at 10:30, right after Matter of Fact with Soledad O'Brien. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I'm Yuna Lee.
And I'm Phil Reed. From all of us here at 4029 News, we wish you a good school year.